Mr. Hegde, I don't know if you are aware, but this PIL has been filed. I don't know whether the Supreme Court has as yet admitted it, but there might be a hearing, there may not be. I believe that the Supreme Court should dispose it off forthwith, but that is not for me to say. That is for the Supreme Court justices to rule. I want to ask you, do you think this is justifiable?
Of course, everything is justifiable. Why do you have a court then? Anybody can approach the court with any cause. That's a constitutional right. Now, how the court deals with it, it's up to the court. So there is nothing in terms of the law or the constitution which prevents any PIL from being filed. You may have your views, somebody else will have other views. But at the heart of the matter is the fact that we are a country that respects international law. The International Court of Justice has held against Israel. Now, with those circumstances, should Indian companies continue to deal with Israel specifically in sending arms which could be further used in war crimes? That is a question. Whether the court wants to get into the question, whether it does not want to get into the question, or whether it says that this is not amenable to judicially manageable standards, whether it says that international treaties are a matter for the Foreign Office to decide, that's a different thing. But I see nothing wrong in filing.
No, I wasn't really talking about the filing. I was talking about the issues that were raised in the PIL. Do they make for a compelling case, logically speaking? And let's not forget that while I'm not trying to at any length suggest that morality should not form the underpinning of diplomacy, but also let's not forget, friends, that morality is not everything. There is also realpolitik, and there are many things to consider, Mr. Hegde. That's why I was asking you this. Would you quickly come in on that? Because let me tell you that, you know, the ICJ has ruled in the past against United States, against quite a few other European powers, as you know. But I don't see this sort of rush to the bar to raise those issues and, you know, ask Indian firms to cease and desist with doing business with US firms, for example. So the reason I invoke this sense of sort of trying to always suggest that Muslims are victims and, you know, continue that discourse, is this all part of that? That's what I was trying to get at, actually.
Well, you might be trying to get at anything. I am only speaking as far as the law is concerned. Now, as far as the law is concerned, any citizen of India has the right to move the Supreme Court for any cause, which affects his fundamental rights. Now, rarely has the International Court of Justice held any modern state to be guilty of genocide or of war crimes. Now, after that determination by the International Court of Justice, who do we side with? Do we continue to side with one side? And do we want also to be dragged later, or do our companies run the risk of being dragged later as complicit in war crimes? And is there something that the courts can do to prevent them? Well, that's a cause which the Supreme Court may or may.
Dr. Ranganathan, would you like to step in here?
Yes. Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. While Mr. Hegde is quite correct that anybody can approach the court with any PIL, it is a fact that court has from time to time and increasingly frequently put massive fines on people whom it does not like, and this phrase of frivolous PILs has been introduced in the court lingo. So it's not quite correct that the court entertains every PIL that is admitted to it. Some it deters, and deters very strongly. Number two, Rahul, and this is important, and this is thrust of the thesis and the debate that we are discussing. So please allow me a couple of minutes. Supporting Israel is not only moral, it is imperative that we do so. For we'll be repaying a debt, and that is what friends do. Let me explain first the debt, then I'll come to the question of morality. Rahul, have we forgotten that in the wake of Pokhran II, when the world slapped sanctions against us, and Pakistan invaded us in Kargil, The tide was turned by Israel supplying us with weaponry, going against world sanctions. Where was the ICJ then? Every country was against us. Maybe even Bhushan and all these frivolous PIL filers were also against us. Let us also not forget that all our Arab friends ditched us during the 1971 war with Pakistan. It was Israel that came to our help, despite America warning it not to. Facts that emerged from the explosive Haksar papers. And how did we repay Israel? By not backing it during its Yom Kippur war in 1973. Now the moral question. Rahul, I would like to make a few points, and they need to be internalized because these are irrefutable facts, not opinions. Number one, it is a fact that Hamas uses hospitals as ammo dumps and patients as human shields, rendering the Geneva Convention invalid, one of the principal points that ICJ used. It is now clear that host of hospitals, including the Baptist Hospital in Gaza, was not bombed in an accidental Israeli airstrike, but rather got damaged through a Hamas stray rocket. But here is the thing, that hospital in Gaza was safe and functioning well till October 6, and it would have continued to be safe and function well beyond had Hamas not murdered 1,400 innocent Jews and microwaved babies on October 7 and brought this war upon itself. So let me be clear, Hamas alone is responsible for the Gaza tragedy. Number two, does the ICJ not agree that the Jews were in the land of Israel more than 1,000 years before Islam was even born? So this argument that the land does not belong to Jews is totally wrong. King David founded this kingdom 1700 years before Islam, and what is symbolized in the Israeli flag? The Star of David. The Jews were driven out of Israel 500 years before Islam after the defeat of Solomon Bar Kokhba in the Jewish-Roman War. Number three, while the Israel Declaration of Independence Charter does not discriminate between Jews and Muslims, the Charter of Hamas, does the ICJ know, democratically elected by the Palestinians, by the way, proclaims that the day of judgment will not come until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Israel will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it, just as it obliterated others before it, unquote. Number four, does the ICJ know that Israel has voluntarily given up land, denied, expand, Gaza? There is a takeover after a war. If it was a Palestinian aggressor, why would it do so? And number five, important, Israel believes two-state solution where Israel and Palestine can live side by side. Hamas does not. And finally, why these hypocrites file this PIL not demand a ban on India's trade with China, given that China has demolished 1,700 mosques and interned 1 million Muslims in concentration camps and feeding them pork and forcibly sterilizing them because their salaries will stop?
Well, on the face of it, the pretext is because the ICJ has stepped in. So that is the reason why we need to be obligated or live up to our obligations under international protocols. That's why, Dr. Ranganathan, this plea has been filed. That's the context of it. That's the context of it. Let me bring back Sushant Sareen, because we lost you, Mr. Sareen, there. I hope the line is better before I bring in Mr. Adil Hassan of the MIM. Yes, Mr. Sareen, you were making a point.
Yeah, I think some of the points I was going to make have already been covered by Anand, especially the point about, the courts, number one, should not entertain these kind of frivolous petitions. Number two, they should impose exemplary costs on the people who bring these kind of frivolous petitions. Number three, if indeed Mr. Bhushan is so concerned about India supplying weapons to Israel, and my position is entirely the same as Anand's, because Israel has stood by us during some of the toughest times that we have faced. So I think there is some morality in what we are doing. But if Mr. Bhushan feels so offended, maybe he should go to the ICJ and drag India to the ICJ. I don't see how the Supreme Court of India can now start dictating foreign policy issues to the government of India.
Don't put it beyond the Supreme Court. To get in here also. There are certain preserves that you think the Supreme Court may not have expertise over, but in all their wisdom, they really do think that they can.
Rahul, it is imperative that the courts stay within their jurisdiction, right? This steady encroachment which is taking place is a very dangerous trend. If the if the judges are so interested in virtue signaling, then they should fight an election.
No, the judges today tell us that even gender is fluid. So, I mean, they've turned into...
No, they can't impose. Look, the judges cannot impose their views on the public, right? If the judges are there to interpret the law and to ensure that things work according to law, the judges have no business of interfering in policy matters unless and until policy matters. No business whatsoever.
Okay,
They cannot make
Mr. Hegde, on that point,
have allowed situations
beyond their domain expertise, and I think Dr. Ranganathan is holding up something. I'll just come back to you. Mr. Hegde, make that point, please.
Well, the point is that the judges do not impose their personal beliefs, or at least that's what the theory is. The judges have a constitutional duty to interpret the Constitution. The Constitution also accounts for the fact that India has international obligations. India is also part of the treaties that have set up the ICJ. India has resorted to the ICJ when it went with the Kulbhushan Yadav case. Justice Dalveer Bhandari of India is a senior member of the ICJ, and India lobbied very hard to get him elected. So it is not that you can be selective about you like the ICJ at times and you do not like the ICJ at times. Then the other thing about Mr. Prashant Bhushan going to the ICJ, it's only countries that go to the ICJ. It was South Africa which took the lead and went to the ICJ. So
Mr. Prashant Bhushan can ask Pakistanis to take us to ICJ.
Listen, you made an error, and when it's pointed out, just let it go. Okay?
No, I know. I'm not as clueless as you might be on international affairs. I'm not as clueless on law as you might be on international affairs. But that is a point I was making.
But you were the one. Now let's move on from here. Okay. Now comes the question of morality, and as far as morality is concerned, Anand, that phone distracts me. If you don't mind.
Okay, let him make his point, Dr. Ranganathan. I'll bring you in. No problem.
As far as morality is concerned, I'm reminded of an episode from the Mahabharata. Karna said in his morality that you have to stand by Duryodhana at all times, because Duryodhana stood by him in hard times, and as a consequence, he was bound at the battle of the Mahabharata to stand by Duryodhana. Well, it may be a moral decision, but was it a right decision? I think even today there are many readers of the epics who have those questions. So where will India stand? India today stands committed to a two-state solution. India has recognized Palestine. It is that two of our friends are fighting. One friend has, in effect, obliterated most of the other friend. There are nearly 100,000 casualties. At this point of time, if you say, look, friend, we are not going to supply you arms, is that so wrong?
No. But there's a difference here, Mr. Hegde. No. You might have an obligation to Palestine, but you don't have any obligations to Hamas. Okay, Dr. Ranganathan, yes.
Thank you.
Those who are being killed are Palestinians.
No, but hang on. It's not as if Hamas has not brought this upon itself. Why did it go cross the border, kill 1,400 people on October 7? It's brought this war upon its own people. Sometimes leaders do that. Saddam Hussein did it. Several others have done it. The Libyan Gaddafi has done it. The Khomeinis have done it. The several kings in Afghanistan, and after that, of course, the Taliban has done it. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, you were holding up something.
I'll come back.
No, I'll come to what I on the specific point of.
I'm afraid two friends are not fighting, as thankfully you rightfully said. One friend is fighting another terrorist organization, and that terrorist organization was democratically elected by the Palestinians.
Yeah.
And the Palestinians are used as human shields by this terrorist organization, so there is collateral damage. Number one. Number two, we as a sovereign nation have gone against the diktats of ICJ historically. That's why I was quoting the famous example where Portugal went to the ICJ saying that it has sovereign rights to be at Dadar and Nagar Haveli in the 1950s. The ICJ ruled in favor of Portugal. India rejected it. Does it mean that India was wrong? I'm sorry. When it comes to sovereignty and our foreign affairs, Sushant is absolutely right.
Okay.
Do you mean to say that India should have acceded to ICJ and let Portugal rule over Dadar and Nagar Haveli and then Goa also?